Thy joys are passing lovely, joys no stranger heart can tell. Happy home, 'tis sure I love thee. Can I say farewell? Can I leave thee? Can I leave thee? Far in distant lands to dwell. Yes, I hasten from thee gladly, from the scenes I love so well. Far away thou billows bear me, lovely native land, farewell. Pleased I leave thee, pleased I leave thee, far in distant lands to dwell. In the desert let me labor, on the mountain let me tell how he died, the blessed Savior, to redeem our world from hell. Let me hasten, far in distant lands to dwell. Bear me on, thou restless ocean, let thy winds my canvas swell. Heaves my heart with warm emotion, while I go far hence to dwell. Glad I leave thee, glad I leave thee, native land, farewell, farewell.
My old white guys. There's a lot of truth to that. And, the result was that intentionally or accidentally, the women got kind of the short shrift of history. It's true. If you look back through Idaho history, which is we're celebrating here tonight, there were some incredible characters. And I'm going to sing a song that I wrote about a person I just became familiar with a few months ago. Her name was Elvina Moulton. And she was a liberated slave that came across the plains in 1867, landed in Boise, and at a time when black people were not particularly welcome. That lasted a long time in Boise. She wound up becoming a charter member of the big Presbyterian church that still exists down there, which no small feat. And she wound up saving or investing her money well. Last house she owned was next door to the mayor of Boise. Well-loved member of the community, she became known as Aunt Viney. So here we go. A slave in old Kentucky, Lincoln set her free. Old Judge Gray, she made her way west from St. Louis. When Viney's feet could walk no more, she found a bit of heaven. She would be in the city of trees after 1867. Viney worked and she saved her pay, a diamond oh so rare. Who would guess that she'd be blessed? Hugs to the mayor. The children came to Viney's porch. Her cookies were the best. She would tell them stories about them coming to the life she found. Freed from chains, she walked the plains and helped build Boise town. Letters to her sister dear told of Viney's life. He never saw her sis again until the afterlife. Viney was her church's rock, though no others shared her race. At church she sat so dignified, alone and full of grace. And Viney Moulton, better life she found. Free from chains, she crossed the plains and helped build Boise town. A silver dollar every week she dropped into the plate. Viney practiced what she preached, her faithfulness was great. She said, when it's time, don't you bury me in the old churchyard. Just lay me down with my own kind, so feelings won't be hard. Viney Moulton, a better life she found. Free from change, she crossed the plain and helped build Boise town. You know, this is kind of a kickoff to a songwriting retreat we're having up at Slocum Hall this weekend. And if you haven't had a chance to see what we're doing up there and restoring the second floor for visiting artists, workshops of all kinds, you should talk to Sandy or Bruce or Cindy, and maybe they'll give you a tour. I think you'll like what you see up there. So, Becky, why don't you come on up here and help me with a song?
I think I will.
Yeah. We're going to go to 1883 over in the upper Salmon River country, Sawtooth Valley. It's a story, it starts in Nevada, and it involves a gal named Banjo Nell, who was a sporting girl, as they called them back in those days. And she wound up with 2 paramours dead within a year when they moved up to Idaho. And I'll let the song tell the rest of the story.
All right.
In Sawtooth Valley, shots rang out. Johnny Hall went down. George was charged with murder down in Haley Town. George claimed it was self-defense. The jury said he'd died. George said, "Boys, I'm ready to swing," as he climbed the gallows high. Round, around, banjo fiddle, round, around, my shame. Round, around, banjo fiddle, two men in their grave. Round, around, banjo fiddle, round, around, my shame. Round, around, banjo fiddle, two men in their graves. Yeah. Love singing with Becky. I would just love just watching her sing. Okay, year is 1883, and we're up in Murray, Idaho. Anybody know where Murray, Idaho is? A few people. You got to work to get there. Even today, it's you go to Coeur d'Alene, you go to Wallace, Idaho. And then you look in that blank spot to the north, that's where it is. So most of the mining camps, they had a gold boom there in the 1880s. And most of these mining camps had stories about good-hearted madams. And once in a while those stories were actually true, and that is the case in this song. It's about, I'll let the song tell the story, but I use this as an example of how to write a really great event ballad. Because this guy, Dale Miller, the singer-songwriter up in Hope, Idaho, on Lake Pend Oreille, did exquisite research on the subject, and he wrote a historically accurate ballad in the style of the old troubadours, when troubadours were actually told the news in their songs. Before many people could write, that was one of the roles of music back then. So, key of E here, Bill. Well, this is the story of sweet Maggie Hall, a maiden from old Ireland. She journeyed from Erin to this new frontier. This is the story of Molly B. Dan. In New York City, she married a man. He promised her riches and fame. Instead of the riches and the fine home she planned, he sold her young body and left her in shame. So Maggie set forth on her journey in life, and the only profession she knew, well, the gold that she gathered in her house of sin, she gave to the poor and the sick that she knew. Then word came to Maggie, gold had been found in a canyon in North Idaho, headed for Murray in the deep winter snow. I'm going to tell you who this guy on bass is now. His name is Bill Parsons, the Bill Parsons on bass, not the Bill Parsons of Weezer. But he knows it. How old were you when you first started coming to the fiddle contests?
10, 12.
10. So you've been coming at least 20 years. I think he's the finest bass player, acoustic bass player in Idaho. Along 30 miles on a high mountain pass, she nursed a young mother and son. She kept them from freezing on that cold winter night, and they rode into Murray, her long journey home. At the old Murray courthouse, a crowd gathered by as Maggie rode up to the clan. She said, "My name's Maggie, I'll be staying a while." Then Bill O'Rourke christened her Molly B. Dan. Well, she said, "I'll be staying on the Gold Creek. I am the first." Now, let's do that again. She said, "I'll be staying on Gold Street. I am the dough. Then right from the start, word reached the town that a miner was sick on his claim. Molly packed up and went back in the hills to nurse the sick miners with nothing to gain. Then smallpox invaded that wild mountain town. Dozens were dying each day. Her girls and Molly took over the town. For 3 weeks they labored without any pay. Then Molly took sick, 'twas late in the fall. The fever grew worse every day. The ministers and townsmen and doctors all tried, but late in the winter the girl passed away. You know, they still have a Molly the Damn Day up there in Murray. It's a big celebration every summer, and they still do maintain the grave and keep flowers, fresh flowers on it. That Murray newspaper was bordered in black. The town locked its doors on that day. 5,000s they gathered to wish her farewell, and mourned as they laid their sweet Molly away. This is the end of the legend here told, but it really did not end that day. It's 100 years since poor Molly died, but we still tend the flowers that grow on her grave. And this is the legend of Molly be damned. Tradition they had telling the news, right? So, and there's what I find, I do songs all over Idaho for the Humanities Council, historically based songs. And there's just, you know, if I tell people I'm going to go play a bunch of banjo tunes, or I go say I'm going to talk about a bunch of old people, you know, you put them together, there's some kind of magic when you put them together in music, you know. It works for 6-year-old kids, and it works for people that are older than 6. So now we're going to stay up in that part of the world, in Wallace, Idaho, because in the 1880s there was a gal named May Arkwright that came out from Ohio, a coal camp in Ohio. And she was abandoned by her parents, and she was wound up with her blind grandfather when she was very young, and so they kind of took care of each other as she grew up. And she got married, and that didn't work, so she jumped on her train and heard about the Coeur d'Alene silver strikes, and wound up in Wallace. And the rest, as they say, is kind of history. The thing about May, she made a huge impact on life up in the Coeur d'Alene Valley. But she was big. She weighed 300 pounds. She was loud. She was crude. But she had a heart of gold. And she's one of those people that just would not be denied. And so I love the story. And this is the first time I've ever done this in public, so who knows what's going to happen. Well, life was hard for little May back in Ohio, orphaned as a child. Grandpa A's told her, hitch up to a stop, let your dreams run wild. She lost at love and headed west, sure to strike it rich in the Coeur d'Alene. She worked and saved and married Al, a handsome railroad man, and answered to her dreams. May Arkwright Hutton, a diamond in the rough, the swath she cut was wide. Champion of the Coeur d'Alene for work for woman and child, dreams as big as the sky. Well, men worked the claim, and in 1901, they struck the mother lode. With silver wealth beyond belief, they moved down to Spokane, there to change the world. You know, by the way, that Spokane was built basically by Idaho wealth. Silver and gold and timber. You probably also, maybe you know that Spokane is one of the 3 capitals of Idaho. Let's count them. Spokane, Boise, and Salt Lake City. Bay's common talk and earthy ways, scorned by high elite, but May took little note. She fought for women's suffrage, and in 1910, her women got the vote. A diamond in the rough, the swath she cut was fine. Well, the champion of the Coeur d'Alene for the work of woman and child, her name was known nationwide. Now, you know, how many people do you know had personally entertained her in their house 3 United States presidents? She did it. I mean, she was a powerful woman, despite the image and her crude ways. Everybody wanted to be around this gal. Well, May's friends were minors, and 3 were presidents. Her sleep of life was grand. Well, May and Al Hutton, they never left their roots and their bond to common men. And the Huttons' silver fortune given back to the poor when May and Al were gone. They built the Hutton settlement, an orphan children's home, still standing in Spokane. May Firefight Hutton, a diamond in the rough. Forgot the word. Champion of the Coeur d'Alene, a woman, worker, and child. Her will could not be denied. This is a song that Rosalie Sorrells collected when she was running around the state of Idaho around 1990, collecting songs with the connection with the state centennial. And this is a song from Star Valley, which is a valley right on the Idaho-Wyoming border. And it's a place where the Butch Cassidy gang members sometimes would hang out. And how many people know that the Butch Cassidy gang robbed a bank in Idaho? Montpelier, Idaho, 1896. So the story goes on this song, they robbed that bank because one of their buddies was kind of cooling his heels in the clinker in Salt Lake City, and they needed a high-priced lawyer to get him out, so he needed some fast cash. Well, this guy had also holed up in Star Valley before that for a winter, waving around money, and he said he was a rancher and sold out, and he's looking for a new spread to buy, you know. He never bought anything, but he did wind up courting and marrying a 14-year-old Mormon girl named Rose Morgan. That's not so unusual, since I think he was Mormon himself, fell off the wagon. Most of the Butch Cassidy gang members were former Mormons. What's unusual is he didn't tell his bride that he was wanted by every lawman in the country. So, there we go. It's got a message at the end, like great folk song should have. So you ladies listen up to the message at the end here. Way out in old Star Valley was many years ago. The lovely Rose Morgan, the sweetest girl I know. One day she met a stranger, a reckless wandering man, who said, I am a rancher, disprove it if you can. He courted her all winter and darling, you are a robber's wife. My dear, I am a bandit, I'm hunted for my life. Here she lived with Christopher, here she lived in pain. That a sheriff might call her dead, take her again. One day the search was ended, it will never fail. They came and took her darling, they locked him up in jail. Now Rose is sad and lonely, with each living breath. She prays to God in heaven to call her home in death. Way out in Old Star Valley was many years ago. A lonely road Morgan, the sweetest girl I know. Now maidens, please take warning, be careful as you go. Don't ever sweat a stranger, a reckless wandering man. All right. Never marry a reckless wandering man, would you? Okay, Dennis, do you want to come up here and join us on a song? I'm going to do 2 more songs, then we're going to take a break. And come on out and talk to all the musicians. We're going to go, here's 1914, and we're down in the depths of Hell's Canyon. Everybody knows where Oxbow, if you live here, you know where Oxbow is. Copperfield Campground. We were there 100 years ago, exactly where that beautiful Idaho Power Campground is located. You would have found the wildest, most rip-snoring mining camp in the American West. It was so bad that the Baker County Sheriff and DA would not go near the place. But unfortunately, there was a governor in Oregon who swore, "This shall not stand. I'm a prohibitionist, and by damn, I'm sticking with that story." So he sent his 5'2", 90-pound secretary down there to read the riot act. And she made it stick. It's a great story. So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In 1913, we had one hell of a time at the Oxbow on mighty Snake River, drinking moonshine and blackberry wine. No work at the dam or the railroad, so we ran wild every day, drinking and fighting, cussing and gambling with Spartan girls we loved to play. One thing for sure, as I was born, I could live with a Copperfield girl. There it is. Dugan wrote to Governor Oz that teetotum son of a gun shut down the saloons and flush all the booze, chase more girls out of town. So the governor sent Fern Hobbs to Copperfield there to declare martial law. She read the act, then she left on the train, and the governor's marshals remain. Quick had to choose a good sporting girl out of Copperfield on the run. or saloons. No sporting girls, no dance hall where weekends were. But I'm still with my Fannie Marie, my sporting girl still at my side. Lord, we had fun, seeing the world had a family of 10 on the run. I know I done right long ago on that night when I picked out my cotton field. We'll take her home, Dennis. Hey ho, Lida, she found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another apple pie. You got that? Hey ho, Lida, she found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another apple pie. Little Lida Coomba hated being old. She would leave her Coon Falls farm and she'd be bored no more. Raven hair and eyes blue and a lovely shape of form. Eyes than most any man that ever had been born. She made a tasty apple pie and served the men she wed. Laced real good with arsenic, for her husbands would be dead. Hey ho, Lida, found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another finger devil pie. Bob Dooley, he was number 1 in a farm back in Missouri. Mick Happy up in Montana was husband number 2. Harlan Lou was number 3 and Beauty hit the floor. And Meyer back in old Twin Falls was picked number 4. Now Norfolk Orangeburg smelled a rat, whose husbands were insured. Little Lida needn't worry about ever being bored. Hey ho, Lida, she found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another apple pie. They dug Ed Meyer's body up from the frozen ground, chock plumb full of arsenic as Heather Freeman found. Lida ran to Mexico trying to stay alive. She got caught in Honolulu with husband number 5. Well, the trial was quite a scene. Folks came from far and wide. Murder too, the jury said. 20 years to life. Hey ho, Lida, found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another apple pie. That's not the end of Lida's tale. She jumped the open wall in Denver town with number 6 caught by the line. She got the road and hit the road. She went back down to Denver when number 7 heard those pies. He just up and left her dead. Well, 20 years she's been her life, poisoning all those men. At last she got her just desserts in the boys and hey ho, Lida, found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make one more time. Hey ho, Lida, found another guy. Hey ho, Lida, make another apple pie.
A collection of songs that you put together called the Idaho Song Bag. I checked it out from the library. And it has this great little booklet with it. And I was thumbing through the booklet and I recognized a name, Israel Justice Clark. And Israel Justice Clark was my great-great-great-great, 4 great-granddad. who came over. He was a Mormon missionary, one of the founders of Fort Lemhi, and they established Fort Lemhi. They were there from 1855 to 1858, and I know this because it's in my genealogy book, and this song is in the genealogy book, and it's called the Indian Mission Song. And he came over to teach his religion to the Indian people, and I have his journal. The Indians loved him. They would come to his house and they'd have big feasts and they would sing with him and learn from him. And so I'm thumbing through this CD booklet and I find that he's been published, which is a pretty cool deal. So thank you, Gary, for preserving our heritage. So the first song I'm going to sing is about my grandmother, Ardith Clark, which would have been Israel Justice Clark's great-great-granddaughter. So she's my grandmother, and she really represents a homemaker who loved her family and, you know, went through World War II and had to go back to work while my grandfather was out at war. And she was just this fantastic lady, and I hope everyone has someone like this in their family. So this is called The Ballad of Ardith Clark. For about 200 years, every American child has studied about Sacagawea. Right? We've all learned about it in school, learned a little bit about Sacagawea. And I knew I always wanted to write a song about her, but there really is not a lot of information about Sacagawea. And a lot of stuff is misconstrued or not true, or we don't know if it's true. By the way, I want to say, make very clear that I'm not a historian. I'm only a songwriter. Yeah, I'm a songwriter and I write folk songs. And so, not all the information might be absolutely right in the song, but I do try to put, these women are very important to me, and I try to put together something that represents them well. So some songs might have the wrong number of miles or something like that, but when I started writing this song, it was funny because we don't really know, and I didn't know this, they don't know how her name is pronounced. They don't know if it's Sacagawea, Sacagawea, Sacagawea. Also, I thought her name meant bird woman, right? So I thought, oh, this would be a great song. I'm gonna write a song called Bird Woman. That was my first thought. But it turns out that's not what it means. And her tribe is actually called the Agaidika. And we know them as the Lemhi Shoshone, which might be partially my great-great-great-grandfather's fault. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to put that together, but everything's kind of named Lemhi in that country now. And when in fact her tribe is actually the Agaidika Shoshone. And so according to the Agaidika Shoshone Indians, they don't know if that's her name, if Sacagawea or Sacagawea is how they pronounce it now, is her name. But if it is, it means the burden, okay? And something that was just mistranslated, which happens a lot. So, in their tribe, by the time she was 5 or 6, she would have been hunting, fishing, and trapping on her own. She would have been making her own tools, skinning her own hides, 5 or 6 years old, making her own clothing, including her dress, her moccasins, her leggings. And by the time she was 12, they learned about childbirth and how to care for the children. And that was about the time that she was kidnapped by the Hidatsa tribe. And her tribe was nomadic. They traveled all around near present-day Salmon and kind of followed where their food source would be. And the Hidatsas, they were more farmers than anything else, and they lived all the way where present-day North Dakota is now. So, she's about 12 years old. They really don't know, but she ends up over there. She's their slave for about 5 years, and then we don't know if she's traded or won or however that works, but she ended up being married to a French trapper, and she becomes pregnant. She is hired on by Lewis and Clark to go on the Corps of Discovery expedition, and they get as far as the Rocky Mountains, and they need horses. So this is like 5 years after she's been kidnapped, and they go down. She's going to interpret the language, the discussion, and there, lo and behold, her brother is the chief of the Shoshone tribe. So that just gives me chills even saying it. It's just such an incredible story. But when I was looking through the Lewis and Clark journals, that's really the only thing that really stuck out to me that I wanted to write about. She saved their bacon, by the way, a lot. But there's not really a lot written about her because she was a woman and she was an Indian, and that wasn't the most important part of their expedition. So she's really not written a lot about, but that story's in there. And so I wrote a song about it. And it's called Sacagawea or Sacagawea, or however you want to say it. Okay, it's a minor. They kidnapped some of their young girls, headed east 800 miles. Among them, no older than 12 years, was a girl, the burdened child. Something about the madams. You said something, a lighthearted madam or a... No, you said something, was lighthearted, good-hearted. This is a song about a good-hearted madam. So, I don't know if anyone knows where Atlanta, Idaho is. But it's just at the base of the Sawtooth Mountains. It's in the middle, south of the Sawtooth Mountains. And when I was a kid, I used to go there with my dad, who would pack out of there, and we would use Atlanta as the base camp. So we'd leave all of our main stuff there, and then we'd go up in the hills. And this story, all the locals talk about Peglegani. And so it was one of those stories that kind of haunted me when I was a kid. So this is the first song I ever wrote about a real person. And it got me hooked on writing songs about people. But So here's how my version of the story goes. And this is my version, I'm not a historian. So it's 1896 and it's payday in Atlanta, Idaho. And two young ladies, Dutch M and Annie Morrow, want to take their earnings and attend a dance at Rocky Bar. And Rocky Bar is another mining camp, mining town, that is about 10 to 15 miles away depending on which way you go. And they used to walk this road all the time, it was no big deal. They were very tough women then. So they're on their way, and the postmaster, Bill Tate, stops them and says, "Don't go, there's a storm coming, it's a bad idea." But being the young, defiant Idaho women that they were, they went anyway. They never made it to the dance. Dutch M never made it back alive, and Annie suffered from frostbite, and they had to remove her feet, and she became known as Peg Leg Annie from then on out. She did a lot of things for a living, this lady. Not only was she a madam, she was, she washed clothes, she was a miner, she was a bootlegger, she was an entrepreneur. She was a businesswoman. You do what you gotta do in those towns. So anyway, this is a waltz. This is a little waltz I wrote, and it's called Peg Leg Annie. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. They left home on a Friday, in spite of the storm rolling round. A bottle of whiskey, they planned to go dancing in town. 18 miles to walk in those steep mountain roads. Met up with Billy, who warned them away from the cold. And he'd be tomorrow, wait till tomorrow, the weather will clear your way. You can Dutch and move on again and dance your troubles away. Too proud to return, determined to reach Rocky Bottom. They turned to a black warrior and then froze there under the stars. 2 weeks to find them and 12 men to bring her back home. Annie's life was saved, but her legs wouldn't dance anymore. Annie, be tomorrow, wait till tomorrow, the weather will clear your way. You and Dutch and move on again and dance your troubles away. Annie lived a long life, working herself to the bone. Haunted by memories of them laying out in the cold. Legend prevails, their spirits wander these hills, looking for a dance in town, away from the chill. Annie, be tomorrow, wait till tomorrow, the weather will clear your way. You and Dutch and move on again and dance your troubles away. Yeah, you and Dutch and move on again and dance your troubles away. So my next story is, let's see here. My next one is about a woman who, there's much controversy around this song I've written because it's not all true, but I didn't know it wasn't all true until after I recorded the song and it's published and everything, but that's how it goes with folk songs. And so, Lalu Nasoy is what I thought her name was, but it might not be. It's one of those things we don't know. Anyway, let me start with the story first. Okay, so Lalu Nasoy was born in 1853, we think, in northern China. And when she was a young person, her family had to sell her because they were starving. And so she was sold under terrible circumstances, and then she was sold again to a madam who sold her again, I'm not making this up, to a slave trader who shipped her to America, where she was auctioned off to a saloon keeper named Hong King from Warren, Idaho, or Warren mining camp. He called her Polly, and she served as his concubine for about 22 years, and then she was freed. We don't know how she was freed. That story is still not understood completely either. So, but she was freed, and what I love about this story is she becomes her own person. She homesteads, she marries her good friend Charlie Bemis.
Fiddle player.
Who's a fiddle player?
She did make some mistakes.
They homestead on the Salmon River, and then she greets river travelers and has people over to her house a lot, and she's still famously known as this wonderful spirited lady, a really good cook, and anyway, her name is Polly Bemis, and I've never been to the ranch, but apparently the ranch is still there. I think it's privately owned, but so anyway, this is it's a sea shanty, and I wrote that because to me this represents anybody who was smuggled, and still is today smuggled into this country in the bow of a ship. This isn't just old stuff. This happens now too. So this is called Polly Bemis. On a small farm near the river, worked firstborn young Lalu Nasoy. Harvest before winter of peanuts, potatoes, and soy. My father gambled weather, winter wheat lost to the rain. Bags of soybean seed. Polly, my darling, Polly, my queen, hold your head high now, never lose sight of your dreams. Captain Truckee was a Shoshone who married into the Paiute Nation, and he believed that his belief system was that in the beginning there was two parents, and they had 4 children, 2 light children and 2 dark children. And when the children got older, they started to fight a lot, and the parents didn't know how to deal with this. And so at one point they sent the light children away with the notion that they would come back someday and all the children would grow up, as you will, and get together and love each other, and they would all live in harmony again. So in, I want to say the 1860s? No, 1840s. I want to say 1840. When he first sees white people, he embraces them. He loves them almost so much that they think he's kind of weird at first. It takes him a while to befriend them because they're like, why is he what's this guy doing, you know? But he befriends the whites, and he guides John C. Fremont on a survey expedition across the Great Basin. He fights along whites in the Mexican-American War. They give him, he sets up he arranges for his granddaughters, Sarah Winnemucca being one of them, to go live with white folks so that they can learn to speak, read and write English. And they present him, the white people present him what he calls his white rag friend. And I pictured it as a cloth. I'm not sure what it was, but it had writing on it, and it was something that he was very proud of. He'd carry it with him. He carried it next to his heart. He'd pull it out sometimes, and he would kiss it, and he would tell his family how much he loved them and how indebted he was. And this document, I call it a document, I don't know what else to call it, but would, it basically told the loyalty he had to white people. So when they were out traveling, there were times when he would have to pull it out so that he could let people know that he was safe and he was on their side, and it saved them a few times. So he dies in 1860, and he's buried as a white man with his, and it was very important to him, he's buried as a white man with his white rag friend. And Sarah Winnemucca goes on to become an interpreter, his granddaughter, goes on to become an interpreter for, reservations. She's an interpreter for the Bannock War, which is 1878. So fast forward from 1860 to 1878, the Bannock War. After the Bannock War, her people are forced to go stay at the Yakima Reservation, and she serves as an interpreter there as well. And that's where she becomes outraged because her people are not being given the rations they were promised. They're starving and they're being treated very badly. She becomes outraged, so she starts to give lectures. She goes to all over California and Nevada, was present-day California and Nevada, giving lectures about making this awareness. And she joins Chief Winnemucca, which is her dad, and they go all the way to Washington, D.C., and lobby and have her people set free from Yakima and able to return down to their reservation in the Malheur area. So, at this point, she still continues to give lectures, and this is where the history's a little iffy because I've read that she gave 200 lectures, I've read that she gave 400 lectures, so we're just going to say she gave hundreds of lectures as an Indian woman during this time all over the eastern United States, which is pretty dang amazing. In 1883, she published the first book written by a Native American woman, and it's called Life Among the Paiutes, Their Wrongs and Claims. And you can go online and you can read the whole thing right online, and it's a really powerful read. She's very diplomatic. She's not, she doesn't blame any side or whatever. She's almost carrying the same message that her grandfather, Chief Truckee, carried. When she was born, her name was Shellflower, so I need to tell you that piece before I start the song. But I wrote this song, pretty much, it's the view of her grandfather. It's like her grandfather singing to her. And I must have water. If you do have a chance, please go on and read that book. It's pretty powerful. Life among the Paiutes, their wrongs and claims. Sarah Winnemucca. The song is called White Rag Friend. I'm singing 3 songs I have not sung in public yet, so this is kind of a cool thing. We have one more song for you tonight, and it's about a lady from where I'm from. I'm from Hammett, but Glen Sperry is the closest town to Hammett, and that's where I went to school when I was a kid, and my best friend grew up in her house. Her name is Kitty Wilkins, and in the 1860s, her family started breeding horses, and they started bringing in bloodlines that, like Clydesdales and high-end horses, and they had this huge ranch where C.J. Strike is now located. And the Wilkins Ranch did very well. And when Kitty finished college, she started going out with her dad in the 1860s to the Midwest and selling horses. And it turns out she was a fantastic marketer. And she pretty much ran the business from then on out for the next 30 or more years. She rode the side saddle. She dressed in a Victorian dress. She was very ladylike, wore the latest fashions, and of course she caused quite a stir wherever she went because she could be the only woman in a sea of 200 horse traders, and she meant serious business. And so anyway, she was published. There's lots of stories that were published in papers about her all over the country, and she was the boss. She would also run operations, so she would go out on the range out near Bruno Jarbidge area out there in the Owyhees, and she would ride behind all of them, but she had 20 to 30 buckaroos working for her, and she was a pretty amazing lady. She retired in Glens Ferry, and in this pretty cool house next to the railroad. She was probably still working, but had the, you know, 'cause right next to the railroad. I'm pretty sure she was still being the boss. Anyway, I remember that house is haunted, by the way. And she used to break, and she still breaks dishes in the kitchen. So anyway, this is, I should probably tell you also, her family was, their brand was the Diamond. And they would call her the Queen of Diamonds or Horse Queen. That was sort of her name. So the name of this song is Horse Queen, and this is about Kitty Wilkins, famous horse trader, horse breeder.
By the way, thanks everybody for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And thanks to Dennis for the incredible sound and oh yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. I'm Kitty Wilkins, no older than 20, a musical scholar of Notre Dame. Oh, I hear you inside some happy who learned the life of fortune and fame. In the spring and the fall, she rode the high desert, leading her own horse from who, they were given during the New Deal, they're from Arkansas, the song's called The Sunken Lands. And during the New Deal, they were given a cottage, some land and a mule, and they picked cotton, they grew cotton. And her grandmother had 7 kids and picked cotton, and she had a really rough life, but when they get the cottage, what she remembers is walking into this house and there's 5 cans of paint on the living room floor. And so that's all I can tell you for now. Gary, you're a big sport for just diving in on this one.
So for these banjo guys around here.
Singer-songwriters are your
B-flat
enemy.
minors and B's.
Singer-songwriters are your enemy, banjo players.
This is got to transition from
So
a
it's
B
gonna,
major to a G, right?
Commit, you just gotta commit.
it's gonna go, okay.